Counting on alum Jinger Duggar is back with a new podcast following the release of her book, People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations. The 31-year-old mom's memoir has already received many positive feedbacks. But it seems Jinger is not done endorsing her book and sharing how difficult her life was back in the day. She even shared that it came to a point where her mom, Michelle, saved her life. Keep reading to see what happened. Counting on Jinger Duggar makes bold prediction for siblings. Jinger recently appeared on the Unplanned Podcast YouTube channel to endorse her latest book, People Pleaser. But aside from her memoir, the Counting on alum also shared her thoughts about her siblings. According to Jinger, she highly believes that someone from the family will have 19 kids. Just like her mother, Michelle, she clarifies that it won't be her, adding that she's already been satisfied even before getting pregnant with her third child. Jinger added that Katie might be the one who could achieve such a feat. This comes after Katie welcomed her twins with Jed, increasing their kids to 4 in less than 3 years of marriage. Jinger reveals how mom, Michelle, saved her. During the same podcast, Jinger talked about how her mother, Michelle, saved her from being an unhealthy person. According to the Counting on alum, she dealt with so many insecurities back then that she didn't want to eat to stay slim. She wanted to stand out to others and look perfect. Jinger admitted that she had friends who were naturally skinny, and she would compare herself to them. She added, "I was so insecure for so many years, which led me to some bad places. Fortunately, Michelle guided her daughter back to a positive lifestyle." Jinger Duggar said that her mother encouraged her to eat healthy together. She stated, "She came up with a plan. Text me what you eat every day, and I'd love to be accountable too, and I'll text you what I eat." It was so sweet, because in that time I was struggling so much and I was so embarrassed by how I was struggling. Since then, Jinger has developed a healthy lifestyle and has become more conscious about staying healthy instead of slim. Counting on Jinger Duggar might get her own show soon. Aside from the podcast, Jinger also participated in an interview where she shared her excitement about her growing family. The Counting on alum revealed that she's due in March 2025. She was then asked if she was interested in returning to TV. According to Jinger Duggar, she's been trying her best to give her daughters the privacy they deserve. But she's not closing her doors to opportunities where they can continue sharing their lives with others. Growing up in the Duggar household, Jinger Duggar was no stranger to the watchful eye of the public. Fans of 19 Kids and Counting and its spin-off, Counting On, got a front row seat to the joys and challenges of life in the Duggar family. With 18 siblings and a deeply religious upbringing, Jinger's story has always been one of faith, family, and finding her path. But beneath the surface, there were moments of struggle, doubt, and self-discovery. In her recent revelations, Jinger shares how her mother, Michelle Duggar, became a lifeline in one of her most difficult seasons, a time when she felt lost and unsure of her place in the world, a mother's quiet strength. From the outside, Michelle Duggar was the epitome of calm. Fans often admired her composed demeanor as she managed a bustling household of 19 children. Jinger recalls that this quiet strength wasn't just for the cameras. Mom had this way of making you feel seen, even in a crowd. With so many of us, it would have been easy to feel like just another kid in the mix, but Mom always made time for one-on-one moments. Those moments became a lifeline for Jinger during her teenage years. She describes a period of intense internal struggle, questioning her faith, her purpose, and her identity. "I was carrying a lot of guilt and fear," Jinger reveals. "I didn't feel like I was good enough. I worried that I was letting my family down, that I wasn't living up to God's expectations." The weight of expectations. Growing up Duggar meant living under a microscope. From their strict dress codes to their courtship rules, the family's every move was scrutinized by fans and critics alike. For Jinger, who has always been one of the more adventurous and independent Duggars, the pressure to conform was overwhelming. "I remember feeling like I couldn't breathe," she shares. "I wanted to honor my parents and their values, but I also felt this pull towards something different. I didn't know how to reconcile the two." This inner turmoil began to manifest in small rebellions. Jinger would dream of traveling to big cities, wearing pants instead of skirts, and experiencing life outside the confines of the strict guidelines she'd grown up with. But these desires were accompanied by a heavy dose of guilt. Michelle's timely intervention. It was during this time of inner conflict that Michelle stepped in. Jinger recalls a particularly emotional conversation that became a turning point. "I was in my room, crying. I felt so alone, like no one understood what I was going through. Mom walked in, sat down beside me, and just listened." Michelle's approach was gentle and non-judgmental. She didn't try to fix everything or tell me what to do. She just let me pour out my heart. And then she said something that stuck with me. Jinger, God's love for you isn't based on how perfect you are. He loves you because you're His. That simple reminder was a balm to Jinger's wounded spirit. It was the first time I felt like it was okay to not have all the answers, she says. Mom reminded me that my relationship with God wasn't about following a set of rules. It was about knowing Him and trusting Him with my life, a path to healing. With her mother's support, Jinger began to explore her faith in a deeper, more personal way. She started asking questions, reading the Bible for herself, and seeking out mentors who could help her navigate her doubts. Michelle encouraged her every step of the way, offering guidance without imposing her own beliefs. She gave me space to grow, Jinger explains. That's one of the greatest gifts she's ever given me. She didn't try to control me or force me to fit into a mold. She trusted me to find my way. This period of self-discovery eventually led Jinger to make some bold decisions that would set her apart from her family's traditions. She moved to Los Angeles with her husband, Jeremy Vullo, embraced a more modern wardrobe, and began sharing her journey of faith and freedom with her followers, honoring her roots. Despite her departure from some of the Duggar family's customs, Jinger remains deeply grateful for her upbringing and her parents' influence. She credits Michelle with teaching her the value of kindness, patience, and unconditional love. Mom showed me what it looks like to love someone through their struggles, Jinger says. She didn't always agree with my choices, but she never stopped supporting me. That's the kind of mom I want to be for my own kids. Jinger and Jeremy now have 2 daughters, Felicity and Evangeline, and she often finds herself drawing on the lessons she learned from her mother. There are days when I feel overwhelmed or unsure of what I'm doing as a parent, she admits. But then I think about Mom and how she always leaned on her faith. It gives me strength, a legacy of love. For Michelle Duggar, her role as a mother has always been about pointing her children toward God and equipping them to live out their faith. While Jinger's journey has taken her in a different direction than some of her siblings, Michelle couldn't be prouder of the woman she's become. Mom has always said that her greatest joy is seeing her children walk in truth, Jinger shares. She may not have envisioned the exact path I've taken, but she's never wavered in her love for me. That means everything. As Jinger continues to share her story with the world, she hopes to inspire others who feel trapped by expectations or weighed down by guilt. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to wrestle with your faith. God's love isn't something you have to earn. It's a gift, and sometimes we just need someone to remind us of that truth. For me, that person was my mom. Looking forward. Today, Jinger is thriving in her role as a wife, mother, and author. Her memoir, Becoming Free Indeed, offers a candid look at her journey and the lessons she's learned along the way. Through it all, she remains grateful for the foundation her parents gave her and especially for the quiet, steadfast support of her mother. Mom saved me in so many ways, Jinger says. Not by fixing my problems or giving me all the answers, but by loving me unconditionally and pointing me back to God. That's a legacy I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, Jinger's story is a testament to the power of a mother's love and the freedom that comes from embracing grace over perfection. If you are looking for more Duggar family news, subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for all your updates.